Hello, I welcome you to our today's lesson, and today we are going to talk about the structure of the cell and what a cell is. Yesterday we talked about a lot of things. We talked about what biology is as a subject, and we said that biology is a study of living organisms. We also talked about the two major branches of biology, which is botan, the study of plants or pastures, and also zoology, which is the study of animals. And we also talked about other branches of biology, which includes physiology, ecology, morphology, and which one have we left? Okay, so these are the only ones which we discussed yesterday. Apart from that, we also discussed about the characteristics of biology, where we said that one of the characteristics of living organisms is movement, which is locomotion. We also said that growth is another characteristics of living organisms. We also said that sensitivity is one of the characteristics of living organisms. Okay, so in some books, sensitivity, it is called irritability, which is the ability of living organisms to detect and to respond to environmental changes. So today we are going to talk about the cells. Okay, the cells. We are going to discuss this in detail. So as you can see, the sub-heading there, it is saying the structure of the cells. Okay, so before we get to draw and to label the structure of these cells, remember yesterday in a video I did mention to say biology is just centered on two things, which is plants and what? Animals. So even the cells which we are going to discuss today, we are going to discuss about what? Two different cells, which is a plant cell and an animal cell. But before we get to talk about these two types of cells, okay, it's very important to understand the meaning of the word cell. What is a cell? How can we define a cell? We cannot just go direct by labeling the parts of a plant cell or animal cell without understanding what a cell is. Okay, so a cell, by definition, a cell is just a small unity that is found in what? Living organisms. Okay, it is a small unity which is found in what? Living organisms. Okay, another definition of a cell is that a cell is a structural, functional, biological unity in what? Living cells or of living organisms. That is a cell. Other people can define a cell as what? They can define a cell as a building block of living organisms. Okay, so we are saying that a cell is a smallest unity of living organisms. So this is a a simple definition that for a cell. We are saying that a cell is a smallest unity of living organisms. Or we can say that a cell is just what? A structural, functional, and and what? Biological unity of living organisms. So these are the two definitions of what? A cell. So we are saying that a cell is a structural, functional, biological unity of living cells. So in the first definition, we are saying that a cell is a smallest unity of living organisms. It's the smallest. So in the first definition, they are defining a cell to be a smallest unity of what? Living organisms. And these living organisms, we are saying that they can be plants or what? Animals. Okay. So they are a cell is a very small unit which is found in what? Plants and in animals. And we are not able to see these cells. Even by our naked eyes, we cannot see these cells because they are very tiny. Okay, so these cells, we can only see them by the aid of what? A microscope. Okay, by the aid of what? A microscope. In a human body, if you talk about animals, in a human body, a person is made up of trillion of cells. We can talk about red blood cells, we can talk about white blood cells, we can also talk about a sperm cell. And we have never seen a red blood cell. We have been just talking about this, but a red blood cell can be seen by the help of what? A microscope, or by the help of what? Using a microscope. And when we are talking about a microscope, there are two types of what? Microscope. There are two types of microscope. Okay? There are two types of microscope. One of the type of microscope is called the light microscope, and another one is called what? Electronic microscope. So this, we are saying that it is what? The first one is light microscope, and the other one is called electronic. Electronic what? Microscope. Okay, so these are the two major microscopes. So we are able to see these cells by the help of what? These two instruments called the microscope. And we are saying that there are two types of microscope. The first one is called light microscope, and the second one is called electronic microscope. But why have I brought these two microscopes? It's very important because we are going to look at two structures, different structures of what? Cells. So this microscope, which is called the light microscope, okay, this light microscope is able to show or magnify the cells in a simple way. Okay, so it magnifies the cells in a simple way, and this electronic one, it is able to magnify a cell in a detailed manner. Okay, so this cell, this microscope is able to do what? Is able to magnify what? The cell in what? Simple what? Simple way. Whilst this one is able to magnify in what? Detailed. Yeah, so these are the two types of microscope. So the light one is able to magnify or to show a simple microscope, but the microscope which shows a cell in a detailed manner, is what? Electronic microscope. Okay. So let's look at the structure of these cells. Okay, the structure of these cells. So we are saying that there are two types of cells, since biology talks about only two living organisms, which is plants and animals. So even the cells, we are going to talk about the two types of cells in terms of animals and what? Plants. Okay, so the structure of animal cell. The structure of an animal cell. Animal cell. Animal cell. Animal cell. Animal cell. It looks like this. It looks like this. It looks like this. Okay, it looks like this. It looks like this. Then there is a nucleus. Then outside there is a fluid called cytoplasm. So an animal cell is just made up of three major parts. Okay, and yeah, three major parts, and these parts are able to be seen under what? A light microscope. But if we use electronic microscope, there are so many parts of what? An animal cell. But if we are using a light microscope, we are only able to see what? Three parts of what? An animal cell. So the first part is this one, and it is called the membrane. A cell what? A cell membrane. So it is called a cell membrane. So it is called a cell membrane. So it is called a cell membrane. And the function of the cell membrane, it is said to be a selective permeable membrane. And one of the function of this cell membrane is it allows other materials to enter through the cell, such as water and oxygen. At the same time, a cell membrane, it allows, or rather it removes toxic substances such as what? Carbon dioxide, materials which are not necessary in the cell, or usable materials in the cell. So a cell membrane helps to do what? To remove those substances or material. So another part, this part, it is called what? It is called what? It is called a cytoplasm. A cytoplasm. So it is called a cytoplasm. Okay. So what is the function of a cytoplasm? So a cytoplasm has been said to be a jelly-like structure. Okay. It has been said to be what? A jelly-like structure. Okay, a jelly like what? Structure. Okay, and the word jelly means what? Watery. Okay, watery. So cytoplasm, it is a site which contains watery fluids such as sugar. We can talk of the water, So it is a jelly-like structure. It is a jelly-like structure and it contains water, salt, and other materials. So the function of cytoplasm, number one, this cytoplasm, it provides shape to the cell. So it gives what? A shape, a suitable shape to what? To the cell. You're going to find that cytoplasm in the other cells, they differ in shapes. Okay, so a sperm cell is different from a plant cell. Okay, and the reason is because of what? A cytoplasm. So a cytoplasm is able to give what? Different shapes to what? To these cells. Okay, so an animal cell has this oval shaped kind of structure, or because of what? This cytoplasm. So one of the function of cytoplasm is that it gives what? A shape to what? To a cell. Okay, and also this cytoplasm, some respiratory processes and protein formations, they also take place in what? Cytoplasm. Okay, the synthesis, rather the making or the formation or the making of the proteins and respiration. And we know that respiration is the process by which glucose is broken down in order to release energy. So some energies are being produced in what? Cytoplasm. Okay, some energies are being produced in cytoplasm, and also what? Proteins. Okay, so we are going to understand this later when we draw the detailed cell, animal cell. Okay, we are going to understand this later on. Okay, so another structure that we are able to see under or by the help of a light microscopic is called what? A nucleus. A nucleus. And what is the function of a nucleus? So a nucleus has been said to be a control center of a cell. Okay, so this is a control center of what? A cell. A control center. A control center of what? A cell. So a nucleus is able to control all the activities of a cell. Okay, so the part which controls all the activities of a cell is called what? A nucleus. Now, what are some of the activities? The activities, maybe if we talk about the development of a cell and the growth of the cell, how a cell is going to develop. So it is going to be controlled by what? By a nucleus. So such activities are being controlled by what? A nucleus. Okay, and a nucleus also contains what? A DNA. So genetic features are contained in what? In a nucleus. Okay, yeah. So the function of a nucleus is to control all the activities of a cell. So these are the three major parts of what? An animal cell that we are able to see when we are using what? A light microscope. Okay, so this is a simple animal cell. Okay, so if you are to draw a simple animal cell, if they ask you to draw a simple animal cell, you are ought to draw this one and show this structures, which includes a cell membrane, a cytoplasm, as well as what? A nucleus. And these three parts, they make up what they call protoplasm. They make up what they call what? Protoplasm. Protoplasm. Okay, these three parts, they make up what is called what? Protoplasm. So if they tell you to say, list down the parts which makes up what? Protoplasm. You are ought to write what? A cell membrane, cytoplasm, and what? A nucleus. Okay? So these are the three parts which makes up what? Protoplasm. So away from this, let's talk about what? Let's talk about a plant cell. Let's talk about what? A plant cell. A simple plant cell that is depicted by what? A light microscope. Okay? A plant cell. A plant cell. A plant cell. A plant cell. Okay? So a plant cell is, the structure of a plant cell is totally different from an animal cell. Okay? So a plant cell, a simple structure of a plant cell looks like this. Okay? Yes, it looks like this. Then yes. Okay, so there is this, and there is also this kind. Okay, so a simple structure of a plant cell looks like this. Now let's label together the parts of what? A plant cell. Okay, so the first part that we are able to see, this one is called a cell wall. It's called what? A cell wall. It is called a cell wall. And this part which follows the cell wall, it is called what? A cell membrane. A cell what? A cell membrane. So the function of a cell is to protect the cell, and also is to what? To support the cell. And we know that the function of a cell membrane is to do what? I did mention there to the function of a cell membrane is to allow materials such as water and oxygen to enter into the cell, and also to remove toxic materials such as carbon dioxide from what? The cell, because the cell membrane is said to be what? Permeable. It is said to be permeable or porous. Okay, so it allows some substances to enter. Okay, to enter in and to go out. Okay, so that is the function of a cell membrane. So again, we have got this liquid fluid kind, which is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm. Okay, and we know that cytoplasm is the function of cytoplasm. We said that the function of cytoplasm is to provide what? A shape to what? Cells. And we also said that in cytoplasm, that's where now respiration takes what? Takes place. The formation of respiration and proteins, that's where now that's where these processes takes place, or reactions. Okay, so away from that, we are able to see other things like these things which you are able to see, these parts. So these are called what? Chloroplast. So these parts are said to be what? Chloroplast. And inside these parts are called what? Chloroplast. Okay, chloroplast. And we are also able to see this spacing, inside, which is called a vacuole. So the spacing inside is called what? A vacuole. Last but not the least, there is what is called what? A nucleus again. A nucleus. A nucleus. A nucleus. So under a plant cell, so these are the major parts of what? A plant cell. So under a plant cell, when you are using a light microscopic, we are able to see a cell membrane, a cytoplasm, a chloroplast, and a vacuole, and what? A nucleus. So the function of a vacuole contains what is called a cell sap, and this cell sap contains what is called what? Sugar or watery fluids. Okay, all dissolved materials are contained in what? In a vacuole. So that is a function of a vacuole. Okay, it contains what? Dissolved materials such as sugar and other materials. Okay, so this is the function. I mean, this is a simple structure of a cell. Okay, a plant cell. Okay, so today I'm too slow. I want you to get the concept about the cells. Okay, so away from these cells, now let's talk about the detailed structure of what? An animal cell, as well as what? A plant cell. Okay, so I think I've given you a lot, so I think we won't be able to do the detailed one, so which can be depicted by the electronic microscope. So for today we are going to end here, and I'm going to give you a task to see if you have understood or you have gotten the concept. So the task that I'm giving you, I want you to answer these questions. I want you to label the parts, and to identify the structure, I mean the type of a cell, which is this one, and to label the parts. Away from that, I also want you to answer these questions. So the first one is saying what is protoplasm. The second one is saying what is a cell. And the third one is asking us to dish out the functions of a vacuole as well as a cytoplasm. So this is the task that I'm leaving you with. So tomorrow, as we shall continue from here. Yeah, so tomorrow we shall look at the detailed structure of these cells, which can be depicted by the electronic microscope. Okay, so thank you very much. May God bless you even as you answer the work. Thank you.